All right, welcome back to the Homestand Show. And now joining us is one of our other favorite guests. It's Crina Mustafa.
Oh, one up
of the program.
Yeah, no, we don't have it's the one big.
It's
then
family.
nobody's a favorite.
No, it's family.
Okay.
It's like, a parent.
There's favorites.
If you no. If you have multiple children, right?
Mm-hmm.
Do you actually have I don't have kids, so I don't know. You don't have a
I
favorite.
have one child, and
you love them
and
all
I
the
dislike
same.
her. So
Who do you love
I'm
more,
joking,
your child or me?
obviously.
Eh? Is it me?
I'm sure some days he feels like you're
Okay,
at this moment in time.
boys.
That's why I give Charmin.
Okay.
First of all, can we compliment Charms on? Look at this hairdo right now.
He looks like
Looking
Brad
sharp.
Pitt.
Shut up.
Okay, let's talk some basketball. So the San Antonio Spurs, they win the 2023 NBA Draft Lottery. It's the third time they did this, and they've had some serious success. 1987, David Robinson, two-time champ, MVP, Hall of Famer. 97, Tim Duncan, five-time champ, two-time MVP, three times Finals MVP, Hall of Famer. In 2023, it looks like they're going to get Victor Wembanyama. I'm looking at this guy, 7'4", I'll be honest. I haven't watched much of him. It's hard to watch most of his games. But at 7'4", you can put the ball on the floor. He can shoot the three. He can beat guys off the dribble one-on-one. He can basically do everything. So my question to you is, who in the NBA can actually guard this guy?
Well, nobody's really as close to him in height, so that's already why are you making that face?
I have a differing opinion.
Okay,
Continue.
fine.
So it's two things. So who can guard him, and will NBA teams now have to change the way they draft players to guard a player like him?
That's an interesting question. I think they'll find ways to guard him. I don't think any player is like super unbeatable or dominant. And especially like we kind of talked about this on Hoop Talks, but also his body frame as well is going to be a factor. When you're moving into the NBA, you're going to be going up against guys like Giannis, like Joel Embiid, like all these guys who are much, much bigger not in terms of height, but just in terms of their size, right? So that's going to be an adjustment as well, coming from a team in France going over to the NBA. So I don't think it's going to be as hard as like most people are saying. They'll figure out ways, but it's a generational talent. I think if you look at the Spurs, like the way they've drafted, like you just mentioned, it's always the start of like a new era for them. And I think that's what they have with him now.
And he'll get Popovich, right?
Yeah,
who coached all these players.
That's what I was going to segue into is Greg Popovich. People are wondering, is he going to retire? Is he done now? But now that they have this generational talent, do you think he now has more motivation or added excitement to continue on coaching? Because we know Pop's been around for 20 plus years as the head coach for the San Antonio
You got to
Spurs.
stick around, right?
Absolutely. And I think, to be honest, as much as like we're all like he's getting older and all that, I don't think I've ever actually seen anything from him to suggest that he wants to retire. So I think like getting Victor in the draft would be an extra motivator for him to keep staying on. He's a very elite coach, as we know. One of the longest tenure, I think. So, or one of the
I think he is the longest tenure for sure. He has to be, yeah.
Yeah. And so I think, why would you leave now? Right now, you've been building up for this moment, and this is kind of your why in the last couple of years.
Help me out here, right? Because social media has been going crazy the last week or so, right? I was reading yesterday some renowned journalists saying this guy's actually maybe better than LeBron at this age. Others saying that this guy would be the best player in the NBA in 2 years' time. I mean, talk about pressure on this kid who's done nothing so far, albeit playing, obviously high level, but not NBA, obviously. Like how good is this kid to someone that doesn't watch the NBA that closely? How good is he?
I struggle with expectations because things happen all the time. We've seen with Zion, we've seen with Chet, like they've gotten injured and that's kind of hampered them. I think his skill set is like there's a variety of it. Comparing it to LeBron to me is a sticky situation because it's different times, it's different types of players. Like you cannot compare them. However, you should still be excited for him. I think he's going to be like a really good star in the league. I'm just take it day by day instead of like jumping forward with it.
That's not the way sports works now, especially the NBA.
Well, it's the way I work.
But people are expecting Victor Wembanyama to come in to San Antonio and change the culture
And then
immediately.
what happens if he doesn't?
People are
Then he's considered a bust.
What did Woj call him? Maybe the best draft prospect in all of the history
Which,
of sports.
again,
of sport.
we
Of
talk-
sport.
again,
I mean, I don't want to slap on the overhyped tag.
It
but
is overhyped.
No one's really having that conversation.
It's
not
overhyped.
It's all
that it's
about
overhyped,
generational
it's over
talent.
expectations, I feel like.
But that's fueling the overhype.
I guess, yeah.
Like,
But he's still a really talented player.
Right.
He's still going to be really good. He's
And
he's
still a
been
prospect
playing-
that we haven't really seen
He's been
before.
playing professional basketball, right?
Exactly,
That's
like,
what Luka
it's
was
not-
doing before he came into the
I know,
league
you
as
made
well.
a joke about the G League. I'm like, yo, like, he didn't come from the G League. I don't know
so
what
he came
you're
from
saying.
France, but I'm saying he played against the G League.
Is that an issue though that he's played overseas, which is again high level, but it's nothing close to the NBA?
I think so. You look at it, right? We were talking earlier on Hoop Talks. When you look at like when Zion was coming out, right? Every Duke game, and now most Duke games are all on national TV anyway, right? But the fact that these European guys come in, they don't have the exposure in Europe as they would if they played in the NCAA. Or
I will say though, but then there's also that issue of like xenophobia in the NBA and why the American players get all this hype, all these sold out, and that's probably why to most people it seems like we're overhyping with Victor because nobody knows too much about it. Like you said, like you may not have watched him that much, but for those who have been involved in the draft, I've known about him for like over a year now. So like the hype has been there. Just because he's not American, that's probably why it feels a bit weird.
So what happens with the Spurs now in terms of a rebuild? Is it fast-tracked?
No, I still think managing expectations. I think this was probably like the first step, probably one of the more important steps to get back to where they were, to get back to a winning mentality. But I don't think he's going to be like one player can't come in and like change everything all at once.
Right.
You still need to add more pieces around him.
unless you're LeBron James.
Okay, but he's not LeBron James.
I'm just
Justin.
He's going to get bigger. When Giannis came in, he was
Yeah,
skinny like him
exactly.
too, and he's got size on Giannis.
Yes.
Imagine like when I watched him play, I'm like, this is like Yao Ming, but he can dribble and he can shoot like Kevin Durant.
That's the big thing.
You would
He can
expect like
move.
that profile of
How old is
player
he?
should
Sorry, how
become
old
the
is he?
best
He's
player.
20.
No, he's
young.
18,
18.
19.
Yeah.
Oh, is that
yeah,
young?
Yeah.
Yeah,
young.
he's going to fill out.
Oh, he's gonna be
Yeah.
fine. He's gonna be a big boy.
Right.
He's still a kid.
Yeah, if you're Pop, you're really happy.
When Albert was 18, he was 125 pounds.
You know what? I was probably like 160 pounds.
18, yeah.
Yeah, for some
Me-
reason
me
I had a
too.
super fast metabolism.
Soon change.
I look like him, not as tall, and then this is what you got now. 240 pounds of muscle. You know what I'm saying? No, I'm just
future.
joking. I have a Jokic body, really. So,
Yeah.
and that's my segue to the next game that happened last night.
Better than a
The
Jokic
Denver
body.
Nuggets beat Los Angeles Lakers. Jokic proving once again, at least to me, that he probably should have been the MVP and not Joel Embiid. It's been a rough few days for
Yeah, but that's a
Embiid.
regular season award.
I know. It shouldn't be. It should be a season award. But Jokic put on a performance, 34 points, 21 boards, 14 assists in 132, 126 win. I thought at the half, I really did. I thought this game was completely over and it was going to be a blowout. But the Lakers, they found a way back. I mean, you had AD once again, 40 and 10. After that first game, what's your biggest takeaway for the rest of the series?
My biggest takeaway is that this series is going to be close. Like, contrary to popular belief of like how that first half went, we know the Lakers have been playing really well in the playoffs. Just the fact that they were able to come back in the second half like that, they got reasonable contributions from everybody. I mean, Austin Reeves has been really great for them. And I think that like it's going to be much, much closer than we realize because I think their teams match up a lot better than most people maybe would have thought. The Nuggets did a good job getting this win because I think maybe going into this, people were maybe not as confident that the Nuggets could pull this series out and that the Lakers were building this momentum. They had just beaten the Warriors. So yeah, I expect this one to maybe go 7 games.
I want to ask you a question about Anthony Davis. He put up 40 points last night, but seemingly could not stop Nikola Jokic. If the Lakers do want to win this series, is there more onus on AD showing up because we know what we're going to get from LeBron? Or do you think a guy like D'Angelo Russell, who only had 8 points, and a Dennis Schroeder, do you think that the onus falls more on them if the Lakers want to be successful?
You want that, but you also know you can't really rely on that. So I think AD has been the X factor throughout this entire playoffs, and he will continue to be the X factor. He has to be the best player on this team if they want to continue succeeding, and we've seen proof of that. When he plays well, the Lakers do better. Obviously, they didn't get the win last night, but he's going to have to continue to do that.
Did you guys see Dwight Howard's comments today?
About John Morant?
About knowing someone who can stop Jokic?
Oh, yeah, himself.
He's not talking about Batman. Did you hear
Oh,
that?
yeah, his tweet. I know. Yeah, I know.
Dwight's
The
been in
only person who
Taiwan
can-
doing some like different type of things the last little while.
He's doing all right
He's
over
doing
there.
all right.
But that kind of goes to my next question. It's probably a difficult one to answer. But if you're the Lakers, how do you stop Jokic? I mean, in the second half, they made an adjustment and put Rui Hachimura on him, which allowed, AD to, guard the paint a bit better. But is that the answer for the Lakers?
I mean, they have to try to throw whatever they can at him. My only issue is that then does that open up stuff for the rest of the Nuggets
Yeah.
players as well? Because they do have enough pieces that you could have somebody go off.
He
Like,
might be in this like unstoppable territory, actually.
It's an interesting thing. I think when you look at when Hachimura went on Jokic, you can then allow Anthony Davis to be kind of like that roamer, and then he can pull into the double team rather than having AD directly on Jokic. I think that's a switch they might have to make. But when you watch him play, like the way he runs, he doesn't run like it's not even fluid the way he runs. He like lumbers down the court like he's kind of like shaking.
But
and
everything
stuff.
is just going well. Even the buzzer beater over AD.
Yeah, it just-
AD looked at him.
it's
like,
not
really, dude.
it's not aesthetically pleasing the way he plays basketball, but it's hella efficient.
Yeah,
And I
love
think
watching him play.
that is something that's very impressive. And I also think like he's on that level of LeBron as a guy who can initiate offense from anywhere on the court, right?
I love Jokic. Sean, how much time we have left, producer Sean? 2 minutes? Okay, quickly. The WNBA. Tons of roster cuts. And I was talking to you about this off the air. I mean, if it's another league, let's say NFL, NBA, a first or second round draft pick not making a team is huge news. And in the WNBA, that's actually happening.
Yeah, it's tough because like there's a limited number of roster spots, and then when you're I was telling you, like if you're too guard heavy on your team, you're gonna have to cut a couple of really talented guards. Like even the Dallas Wings, they cut the Abby Myers, who was a first round pick, and we just saw today like the 2021 number 1 pick Charlie Collier also got cut from the Dallas Wings. So it's very tough. I think the things that need to happen in order to get rid of these like disappointing cuts, like even Bree Beal, Destiny Henderson, both who have been who came from South Carolina, like really high rated college
They
programs.
just won the championship.
Yeah, yeah, last year. But to me, it's like you need to have some sort of G League, I think, to be able to send some of these players to develop. You need to expand your roster sizes at the same time or before expansion comes into the photo.
Or more teams. Right? Isn't that the key? Isn't that the key here? I know there's not a lot of money going around, but I think that's what this league
At the end
needs.
of the day, it's still a professional league. Cuts happen. I think not all of them are shocking. I think some of them are just normal, regular cuts. But I think there is an overall issue that does need to be solved with where the rest of the talent goes.
All right, Crina, we're out of time, but thank you so much. You're fantastic as always.